Hello, everyone. I'm Danielle Stesky. Welcome to the FAQ Online Summer Youth Programs. I got a great panel, and I will kick off asking them to introduce themselves. Mary, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I am Mary Mukherjee. I am the Senior Program Director for Youth Programs at Montgomery College.
Hi, and I'm Dorothy Humans. I'm the Dean of Community Ed and Extended Learning Services, within whose area Youth Programs falls.
Ladies, every year Montgomery College offers summer camps for children and teenagers. What is different this summer?
Well, this summer, all of our camps are online. We've had to move all of our camps online this year because of the pandemic. And we still want to be able to serve the community, so we moved everything online.
And you offer a wide range of camps. How did you decide which camps to offer online?
Well, we always offer camps that relate to students in different ways. Sometimes it's filling in the gaps of what they might have missed during the school year, get them prepared for the next year. It's also an amazing opportunity to try out a new interest, an opportunity to see, what's out there. Maybe they're interested in interior design, so they're going to try something on that, or any topic, architecture, art, coding, anything. So they can try something out for the very first time. So first we started there with what we believe that the community wants and needs. And then we talked to the instructors and made sure that we could maintain the high quality program that we have online.
Mhm. Let's talk about some of the summer camps. You mentioned interior design. That's a new one, right?
Well, we have a new interior design. Dorothy might be able to talk even more about it.
So we started with interior design. I think it's important to know one of the strengths of our youth programs is the fact that we are part of Montgomery College. And as such, we get to take advantage of an extraordinary array of faculty. So we took a look at who we had and we reached out to different departments. And interior design and architecture were two of the departments, along with engineering and a number of others. And so we began working with the interior design faculty member, Julie Pretty, a couple of years ago. And she's done some great camps. In fact, after everybody being locked down, if you're not ready for a new bedroom design or house design, then I'd really like to meet you. Julie designed those camps, and then she is an extraordinary professional. She works full time. She teaches as an adjunct and has for a number of years. And because of the quality of her work, she was selected to join a group of people in High Point, North Carolina, about a year or two ago. And for those of you who know, High Point is one of the major centers that produces furniture. And so she was invited there. In addition, she has her own business, so she understands what it takes to make a business work. And we're finding different students really are so entrepreneurial, whatever the area is, they're looking for ways to make a difference. They're very creative. And those are the skills that drive business creation. And so Julie decided this would be a great opportunity to create a camp. Mm-hmm. And the camp will run from 9 to 4. They'll be given projects. They'll have different roles. They'll be looking at marketing and design and writing, looking at business plans. They'll do some work. They'll get an assignment. They'll do some work in small groups. They'll step away. They'll bring back what they've created. They'll have another session before lunch. They'll have a break. There's a lot of movement in and out, but it will walk them through bringing a design product or service to market. So they not only get to take advantage of their creativity, They get to take advantage of the other kinds of skills you need to develop. What do you need to know? What questions should you be asking? How do you appeal to clients? How do you market your product? And finance and all the aspects of business. So you not only learn about design, you're learning about the application of something.
And what is the age for this particular camp?
That camp, I believe, Mary, is 6th through 12th grade.
Mm-hmm. We also have other entrepreneurial camps for middle schoolers, Kidpreneur 1 and Kidpreneur 2. So if design isn't your thing, but you have maybe a social issue that you want to develop an entrepreneurial program with, you can take Kidpreneur 1 or Kidpreneur 2. In addition, Kidpreneur 2 also earns SSL hours, student service learning hours, that MCPS requires, because in it you are going to take a social issue or a community issue and develop a way to address it.
Mm-hmm. And while we are on this webpage, Mary, I know we have the virtual youth summer catalog, right?
Correct. So that has all of our courses in it. It's a PDF, so you can search for things. We have over 200 camps. So there's something for everybody. We're basically first grade through 12th grade. Some of the camps are an hour a day. Some of the camps are longer, like the Empire Building by Design. And some of the computer programming are also all day, because we want them to be able to work with the instructor in the morning, practice the work, check in with them, and do that throughout the day. That's why they're longer camps. But we really have something for just about every age group in our camps.
Mm-hmm. And are there scholarships available?
There are. They are limited in nature. We are working with MCPS, and we are hoping that there might be an exciting opportunity that we can share next week. But right now, it's limited by our funding. It is restricted to people who are farm eligible. Either they've already been certified as being farm eligible, or they have tax documentation that would show us that, or other kinds of documentation. It's unfortunately first come, first serve. And it is limited to, until we run out, one camp per student for the summer. They pay fees, we cover tuition.
Mm-hmm. And do you offer accommodations for students with disabilities?
Yes.
Absolutely. And this is something we feel very strongly about. So we are very lucky that we have the whole Disability Support Service Coordinator, and Natalie Martinez is who we work with very closely. The students are required to fill out forms online, and in it asks if the student has any type of disability or accommodation at school. We want to make sure that they are able to participate in the environment as much as possible. So we welcome students with all different types of abilities.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back to the camps. Let's talk about the MC engineers.
So the MC engineers are, we have an amazing professor of engineering, and she's based in Germantown, but now anybody can be there. Dr. Monica Malini. She really wants to, and has worked hard to kind of change the face of STEM. She wants it to be accessible to all students. We find that mainly we have the male gender in STEM, but we want it accessible to all. So as a female engineer, she's trying to promote that. She has incredible camps. For those camps, supplies will be delivered to people's houses or shipped to them if they don't live in the area. We have had registrations as far away as California. So the students will be working with her to program, do coding, all sorts of things. Even ways of creating little catbot, carbot robotics, have wearable programmables, as we call them. So taking an article of clothing and coding it to something. So it's very exciting. She wants to make engineering approachable and usable by youth.
And can you tell me how do these camps work? For example, you were talking about a STEM camp. How can the instructor see what the student is doing?
So most of our instructors use the Zoom platform. Montgomery College has the platform, which is more secure than the free ones that are out there. We also put certain safety measures in place so that we don't have Zoom bombing, and our number one thing is to keep the children safe. So because we can use cameras just like we're doing now, the instructor can actually see what the student is doing. Many of the classes, we've also limited how many students can be in the camp so that the instructor can work more closely with them, because it is different that they're not standing right next to them. Now they just have to do it virtually.
In a couple of cases, we have some assistants in the camps. And I think it's a good opportunity also to point out when Mary designed the brochure, which is online and available, and if anybody wanted us to email it to them, we do have it in email format, or they can go online and just print it off. In addition to every description and who's teaching the camp, and the times and the prices and all of those things, Mary has described what the camp will look like, whether they're online for the entire period, because it's an hour, whether they're doing like what we were talking about in Empire Building, working together, working alone, coming back together, sharing work, talking about the next assignment. Whatever the scenario is, it's pretty much laid out so that participants will have some idea of how it's going to work. And of course, if anybody has questions, all they have to do is contact us. And the easiest way is youthprogramsdirector@montgomerycollege.edu. And that's on one of our web pages.
Mm-hmm. And Mary and Dorothy, how do I pick a camp for my child?
You know, the best advice we have is, if at all possible, it should be collaborative. We know that parents have ideas about what their children might be interested in, so sharing that is, of course, something. But of course, it works better, and it is far less depressing for us when we look at the students and say, why are you here? And we don't hear, because my parent made me. So we encourage students and families to take a look at everything we offer. And although it takes time, spending time taking a look at what the camp options are, what opportunities are available for which students. So you can take a look and say, gee, I'm thinking that I might be interested in being an engineer, or I'm interested in building things. What does an architect do? So there's that opportunity. There are specific camps, and Mary can fill in. We were concerned, of course, there are a number of us that don't feel as secure in our math skills, but we know that if you fall behind, catching up is tough. And so Yang Academy is doing a series of wonderful camps on everything from pre-algebra through calculus. And it's a great way of making sure that you filled in gaps, but it's also a great way of becoming familiar with a topic. So when it's taught during the year, you're not walking in cold and you're even more ready. The other thing that's should be considered is, yes, you can look at a camp that says creative writing because you want to work on your writing skills, or you sign up for calculus because you want to work on your math skills. But when you take a look at a number of camps, building those skills are built into those camps. So math is inherent in an engineering camp. It just gets taught in a sometimes what students feel is more palatable. The other thing that we did is we took a step back. I mean, we are a major educational institution, and we said, what's our mission in the world and what do we want for our students, whether they're, from firstborn through lifelong learning. And we said, what kind of skills does everybody need in order to function well? It's much easier to feel comfortable in your skin than it is to always feel like you're catching up. So when you think about what we need to survive on the job, in our private lives, hanging out with friends, it's an issue of how well do I communicate? What do I know about myself? How do I communicate my thoughts? How do I communicate my feelings? How do I get my point across without insulting somebody? And in fact, we have a very specific camp that Mary worked with someone to design, and she can explain it just because that was a need we heard.
Yeah, this sounds very timely, Dorothy.
Yeah, in fact, we were saying that. We were saying if we had known what the pandemic was going to bring, we could not have designed a better set of opportunities for students than we designed, including being online and learning how to work with other people and use technology. I wish I could say this is the last time we're going to face these kinds of issues. It's not. Mary, what do you have to add?
I think the part there about people, young and old, understanding themselves, where they stand, who they are, and then communicating those ideas appropriately is huge. Right now, with everything going on in the world, everyone needs to, refine their skills, even those who think they're perfect at it, and nobody is. So we have a variety of camps. One of the camps we have is mesmerizing memoirs. And like Dorothy said, we had no idea what was going to happen, but this is for 3rd to 5th graders. And it's all about learning their voice. It's actually underwritten or sponsored by the Sandy Sonner Foundation. And she was an employee of Montgomery College who was very passionate about writing. And she, in her legacy, her family developed a foundation, and she wanted to support, and they want to support students in writing and understanding themselves. So that's a very powerful, this particular camp, because it is sponsored by the Sandy Sonner Foundation, has a separate set of scholarships. So for all the 3rd to 5th graders out there that think that this might be something interesting, I highly recommend it. It's only an hour a day. There will be some things that you do outside of the class, but it's a wonderful opportunity, and you get a book out of it too. So it's a great thing. The other part, we have evaluations at the end of camps, just like every course does. And last year I was reading them, and there was an overwhelming theme of students wanting to talk, especially middle schoolers, wanting to talk about hot topics. I kept saying hot topics and controversial topics on all of these things. And I started paying attention to what they meant. And what they said was that there were so many things going on in the world that they wanted to talk about, but they didn't want to offend anybody. And they wanted to be able to project their ideas and state their ideas in a way that were clear. And so they wanted a safe environment where to do that. So we came up with creating charitable discussions, and Paul Keogh is teaching that. That is one of the classes that gets student service learning hours, because it's important to the community, it's important to society for people to be able to express themselves appropriately and to listen, to hear other point of views and be able to do that. So like Dorothy said, we had no idea the world was going to be what it is today. And there are so many opportunities for students to engage in online learning during this time, I want parents to know that students aren't just going to be sitting in front of a screen for hours. It's interactive. It has to be interactive. It has to be fun. It's camp. So while learning, you can have a lot of fun, and that's what we're trying to promote.
Mary, could you speak a little more about the traveling history camps?
Yes, so we have, this is another thing that the students said they wanted. They wanted history. Well, okay, I happen to be a fan, so that's easy for me to create. We have a very highly appreciated, I guess, MCPS history teacher who developed 3 camps. Originally, they were going to be in DC. They're called Traveling History. One is the fight for civil rights. One is the American presidents, because we are in an election year and this could be timely. And the other is the 19th Amendment, the 100th year of women's suffrage. All timely topics. Originally, he had planned to take a group of students into DC and actually show them where things happen. Not just go to the museums, that's fun, but really interact with the environment, the community that we live in. Of course, because of COVID, that got shut down. So now he's doing it virtually. And the cool thing about it is it's not just limited to DC. He can go to Alabama. He can go all over the place virtually, and the students can learn so much. We also have a museum trip for younger children. It's a museum city. So originally that was going into a museum, and they learned, how museums worked as well as what was in it and what was behind the scenes kind of things. Now they're going all over the world to go to different museums. I can't remember all of them, but they're going to France. They're going, it's escaping me, but they're going to some really cool places.
They're going to a zoo someplace.
They're going to a zoo, yes. It's. I know that parents have the opportunity to plop their child in front of a screen and say, here's a tour of a museum. But it's different when you have an instructor, and a very highly regarded instructor, going through this with them and showing them the ways that they can learn things.
And they're not only doing that, they will be sitting, looking at themselves, deciding how their perspective matches with what they're learning about, and they will be writing. So again, it's those integrated skills. It's the learning, it's the application, it's the critical thinking, it's the writing, and then it's speaking about what they've learned. So it's also a great opportunity to then come home and share that with their siblings and their family. And that's another thing about our camps. We encourage parents to ask their family members, what are they learning? And engage in discussion over dinner, since everybody's spending more time together. It's an opportunity to expand for their child to become a leader of a conversation, which is another skill we want.
Mm-hmm. And I think I have a question here that might be on the back of our parents' mind. Do they need to be present, while their child is online?
They don't have to be, but they're welcome. So we haven't, all of the camps are designed for the parents not to necessarily be there. Now, I will say that supervision is a different challenge when you are online. We can't make sure that they are physically safe through the computer. So we are depending on parents to make sure that they are creating a safe environment for their student to be in. And then the teacher will make sure that the digital environment is safe. So they don't have to be there, but they are welcome.
We have talked about this. There's a fine line between growing your children and growing them safely. And so if you as a parent are observing, we ask you to use your judgment about when you step in. Remember, it is your child who is enrolled, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a role. If for some reason your child isn't feeling as challenged as they want, when we had face-to-face camps, we encouraged dialogue with the instructor to say, you know, do you have more work? My child is done with what you're asking them to do in a much shorter time period. And the teachers that we have usually were able to respond. If you're lost and you're embarrassed to raise your hand, then, you know, figure out a nice way of reaching out before or after to the teachers, to us, so that we can address that kind of thing. I mean, you know your child. You know if they're complaining because it was hot and they didn't sleep well and they're crabby. But if it's an issue of there's something within our control, again, we're committed to high quality experiences. So we can't do anything about it if we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Ladies, I got a few questions here from our audience online.
Mhm.
Carla asks, will you open additional sections if popular classes fill up?
Well, we possibly could. Really, it depends on the availability of the instructor. Most of our instructors are Montgomery College faculty or MCPS teachers. So they have given us part of their summer already. We could ask for more, but many of them already have plans. So I do recommend, if you are interested in something, to register now. The registration is coming in fast and furious. So if there's something you're interested in, don't wait too long.
Mm-hmm. I got here more questions. Eileen wants to know if the panelists are looking for assistant teachers. Her daughter is interested, has computer skills, and would like to engage with children.
Right now, we don't need any more assistants, but you can always send a resume to the youth programs director at Montgomery College email. I'd be happy to have it. And some of the people that we are using this year sent them in last year. So I do hold on to them and I do read them carefully.
I
Nice.
think one of the really special things about our camp is, yes, we create camps because people are asking for them, but we also have the framework of what we want out of a camp. And I think what's made our camp special is that the teachers are very passionate about what they're teaching. And we let them design the orientation of the camp. Yes, their outcomes get reviewed and they have to pass muster. So it's not a hands-off, oh, you have an idea, just go running off and do it. But it is extraordinarily collaborative. It is very creative. And I think it's involving because of that.
Mm-hmm. And one more question here. Cypher wants to know if they have camps for sixth graders.
A ton. And just about every subject you could ever think of. I will say the majority of our camps are middle school camps. We have everything from drawing. We haven't even talked about the drawing camps that we have. Another thing students wanted last year was more art. So we are collaborating with Abracadoodle this year. We did have all these painting and all sorts of camps planned, but now we're doing drawing, but drawing in such fantastic ways. And Abracadoodle tries to have a STEM approach or a STEAM approach with their art camps. So absolutely that. Engineering, science, we have computer programming camps, web design camps. We do have some cooking camps. They're called Future Chefs that may be of interest. So we have camps for just about every subject you could think of for every age group.
You know, Mary, you talked about Kidpreneur and the product, the empire building camp. But we've traditionally offered computer programming 1, computer programming 2, and web design. And over the years, we kept hearing from parents, now sometimes it's a little inflated, but sometimes it's really valid, that they have a child who is extraordinarily creative and very interested in computer applications. And is just looking to bring ideas to market or is helping other people. And so we went to our extraordinarily qualified person whose camps typically fill, who does the computer programming 1, 2, and web design, and said, would you be willing to work with us on a creative camp where the students have their own projects, and you will be their mentor, helping them to develop their idea. And Mary, the name of that one is?
It's Computer Programming 3, and it's an independent study. It's very limited in how many students can be in it, because David Hill, who's the instructor, is going to be working with students really one-on-one. I mean, they'll work collaboratively in the group, but they will work with him to further their programs along, their projects along. When they sign up for the class, we ask that they write us a short a synopsis of what their program is, so he has a really good idea of how he can help them. So it's actually an independent study, and it's for high school students, 9th to 12th grade. But if there is a middle school student that you think, if you have a middle school student, we would certainly be interested in hearing from you. It's not, those grades are not exclusive.
Okay, ladies, we got a few more questions. Bushu asks if you are offering Accuplacer.
Oh, interesting idea. Okay, so youth programs were designed for camps. We have other programs within community ed and extended learning services. We have borrowed 2 camps, one for SAT and ACT prep, reading, writing, math. No, not math.
Reading, SAT, reading and writing.
Accuplacer has been suspended in terms of a way, it's a placement test. So it is one of the alternatives for placement tests. SAT and ACT are the other 2 routes. So I would check under workforce development and continuing ed test prep, but I can tell you there is an independent study Accuplacer kind of prep program, and it is listed under that test prep. So if that is something you're interested in, then Laura Ryrick, just go test prep Montgomery College, or send it to Mary, and we can always get it to the right person.
That's what I was going to suggest. Send it to us, and we will make sure the question is answered.
Ladies, I would like to address registration right now. How do I register?
You register by going to our website, which is montgomerycollege.edu/youth, and go on to the online registration. We ask that you have patience. The weeks are set at the top there, or in the middle of this page, so you can register by week. If you click on any of the classes, the course description will come up. Once you register, you don't pay immediately. The system doesn't work that way this year. So you would go on, click a class, register for it, make a shopping cart, check out. But when you check out, it throws a lot of people off that they're not actually paying for it yet. So you will pay for it in about 3 to 5 days. You'll get an invoice, and that's when you go online to pay.
What we've done, and some of it is an offshoot of trying to protect people's privacy. The college has done something. No one enters a social security number. We all have student numbers. That is your student number at Montgomery College for life once you enter in, for example, through youth programs. And everything is tied to that. You have to claim your account. Again, it's to protect your privacy. What we'd say is if you ever get frustrated or you're not getting the emails that you expect, please reach out to us. We don't want you to disappear. We want you to be satisfied. We will have people walk you through the system.
And ladies, how about cost? How much does it cost? I think Mary mentioned somebody taking the camp in California.
Mhm.
Does that cost more for this child? How does it work?
We're very lucky at Montgomery College that we only charge an out-of-state fee, not an out-of-county fee. And the out-of-state fee is only $25, which is extremely low.
And it's
So
unique for youth programs.
it's unique.
Don't
Yes.
expect that same thing for the rest of the college.
That's right, because we're the youth program. So that's right. Thank you, Dorothy.
You're welcome.
Don't want to get you in trouble there. So really, you can be anywhere. And what I've told parents is, right now, I know my kids are missing their cousins. They're missing their family. They're missing friends. And it is a safe way to spend some time together. You can have cousins that live in different parts of the world and they can take a camp together. It's kind of fun. So that's one opportunity that you have with this type of camp that you don't have with face-to-face.
Okay, now an important question. What do I do if I sign up my child for a camp and he or she doesn't like it? What do I do?
So we have, it's a tough road to walk. We needed to be able to make plans. There is a refund schedule on the web. And depending on how far out you notify us that you want to change your mind, you either get a full or a partial refund, and your refund shrinks until about a week or two before the camp starts, at which point there are no refunds. But if you don't like the camp, then the question is, why don't you like the camp? And rather than run, work with the faculty member and work with us. Mary, what is there?
Absolutely. We would want to know why. Was it not a good fit? Was it not what you thought it was going to be? So we want to learn a little bit more from you. Our goal is to serve the community. So how is this not serving your needs is what we want to know.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands about the camps. So, Mary and Dorothy, you have camps for high school students, middle school students, and elementary school students, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you just need to go to the website, go to your virtual catalog, and look for something fun for your child to do.
Exactly. And if you have any questions, then please send us an email that youth programs director at montgomerycollege.edu. We will get back to you as quickly as possible. We have several people monitoring that email account, that inbox, and we want to make sure we're answering any questions that you have.
Ladies, we are almost at the end, and I got one more question about scholarships. I know you already touched on. Can you just remind us that you have scholarships for these camps?
We have limited scholarships, and it is first come, first served. So if you're interested, when you register, there is some people say, well, how do I apply for the scholarship? When you are on the registration form, there's a box that says that you're asking for a scholarship. Then what we need to do is we contact you to get the documentation so that we can offer the scholarship. And it would be either the farm form or the tax information that shows that you meet the federal income eligibility for farm. So, and then once that is processed, then you would be responsible for the fees. So if a camp is $100 plus $25 for $125 total, the family would be responsible for the $25.
Mary and Dorothy, I want to thank you. And from all of us at MC and MCTV, have a great day.
Hi.
I think we are off the air. Let's see.
Oh,